others around him equally so, with 25 seconds now is a declared gap, but to whom? Just about anybody's guess, because it's in flux almost continually. How many do you see coming to duke it out into Siena? 4. Yeah, me too. That was the number I was holding up. There we are. It's a brave work out there, and that's the Norwegian Corsi, and it looks like he's struggling finally, the youngster. .2 kilometers remaining of today. So, Brian, strategy-wise for these guys?
Well, there's nobody with the numbers. They're all 4 individuals. Before, Kwiatkowski and Stibar were quite happy to kind of help each other, and when Greg Van Avermaet and Tim Wellens came across the group, they stopped working. There's still an option for 4 riders trying to come across now, but the 4 strongest riders seems to be the 4 in front. It was just on that last climb there, Kwiatkowski and Sagan attacked about 3 years ago when Kwiatkowski won, and they went all the way towards the finish. But Tom Dumoulin, Jules Jensen, Durbridge and Gonçalves is still hanging in there, but Tom Dumoulin looks strong. We've already mentioned him. If he can come across, then he's definitely going to be a threat, but it looks to me as if Durbridge is just he's starting to suffer a little bit now. These are definitely Kwiatkowski for Sky, Greg Van Avermaet from BMC, Tim Wellens for Lotto Soudal, and definitely Stibar are the strongest in the race today. Who's going to win? Well, anyone's guess.
It's a tenuous 9-second margin at the moment. The pace as we come down here, just take care. There's a lot of sort of farm spill, including, sad to say, a little bit of diesel spill as well along the way. It can get slippy even underfoot at a moment such as this. And they're still threading their way down these country lanes and doing a great job of it right now. They've got a bit of pace about them, and they're just approaching this next climb. It's strade bianche as well. We're going to get a transition, and it's a great springboard potentially for these guys, and that's why they've just added a little bit more pace as we speak at the moment. Under 20 k's to go. They've got to believe, Brian.
Yes, Tom Dumoulin doing a big turn now. He's trying to come across, but I don't think it's going to be possible, because we're going to be on to this next section, and these 4 riders, are they going to combine? Are they going to set up? We've already seen a little bit of tactical play already, but they're cagey of each other. They're not riding 100% to help each other. They are riding cagey. We're now inside the last 20 kilometres, and this is the penultimate gravel road.
It is penultimate gravel section right now, and the cars are already onto it. Now, they've been kicking up dust, and it gets in your teeth, nasty stuff. Had it been a little drier, it's certainly not. There's too many motorcycles here ahead of them by the looks of things, and they need to get out of there. We have our TV cam, which just behind them, as you can see, stills photographers just pulling to the side of the road to under instruction to let these guys go by, which is great. This is the Tom Dumoulin group with Jules Jensen, Gonçalves and Durbridge. Gonçalves, just an exceptional day by him. He's 28 years of age. He's had some great results, but the biggest one last year, I think. The Presidential Tour of Turkey, which sadly has been delayed this year, I guess due to security worries, unfortunately. It's been pushed back. I'm hoping that now it's achieved World Tour status that we actually do get to see it later on in the year. Let's keep our fingers crossed, because it's an amazingly well organised race. So is the chase in terms of organisation at the moment. They're keeping them honest, 9 seconds only, and they're coming into it right now, and this is where it hurts. This was that climb that I was talking about, Brian. A great launch pad if you've got something left.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you've got something left, all these riders, this is a steep climb. It's breaking up in the chasing group. Tom Dumoulin, can he come across? This is a steep part of the course, and Stibar decides to go to the front, pushes on a little bit. He wants to kind of break the Belgians, Greg Van Avermaet and Tim Wellens. He realises that he doesn't want to come into town with these sort of riders. He was outpaced last year by Cancellara. So it looks like the quick step floor rider at the front, Stibar, is deciding to kind of try and push over the top of this climb.
Well, he'll be there before you know it. And then there's a small transition where it stays strade bianche, white roads, and then we'll be back onto tarmac. It's not that long before we get to the next sector, and that'll be the last of the white roads that we deal with. Gonçalves just suffering a little bit, and just looking at Jules Jensen right now. And the gaps are starting to become fissures, and there's riders all over this course. This is more familiar, Brian.
Yes, his teammate Durbridge is just in front, and then in front of Durbridge, Tom Dumoulin trying to go across to the 4 riders in the leading group of Stybar, Kwiatkowski, Greg Van Avermaet and Tim Wellens. So 2 Belgians in the front, a Czech and a Polish rider in the front 4.
Well, anyone's pick. Dr. Mike Watts on Twitter says, to my mind, I've changed it, he says again, he's going for Kwiatkowski. I'd like to see that actually, because he sort of had a lull, Kwiatkowski, after his great season, but it's good to see him back where I think he should be, which is at the forefront of our thoughts. Tom Dumoulin as part of that group, and I think they're a group that's suffering, and it's because of the hammer that's being imposed by these guys. Tom Dumoulin, that's the Greg Van Avermaet group as well. Here we are, Stybar, Tom Dumoulin, Tim Wellens, Kwiatkowski. Just having a look further back as well, just to see what the gaps are. So we've had a couple of bridges here. If it gets to be a fast sprint, who's your pick?
Well, up to that climb, it's not going to be fast. But
over the top of it.
I think over the top.
You've still got 300 metres.
Yeah,
they reach it.
It's twisting and turning on the stones, and I think it's just who's got the strength. I would say of these riders who can sprint, Greg Van Avermaet, of course, but so can Stybar, so can Kwiatkowski. I think Tim Wellens is thinking about how he can come in and win on his own. As we see in the back of the group now, Tom Dumoulin has made it across. Luke Durbridge is in there again, Jules Jensen, but a lot of these riders will now know that with the stronger riders that were there, they're not wanting to help each other, and it's real no surprise that Tom Dumoulin is thinking, well, I'm maybe not as strong as the other 4 that were in front. I came across to them, and it could get a little bit more tactical now.
I think it will, and we're just about to transition off the strade bianche. We've got about another 100 or 200 metres or so before we get up to tarmac, or asphalt I should say. Then the road rises and falls just a little bit before our final peak, before the penultimate peak, if you like. It's 18% they're going to have to take, although short, sharp shock. It's about 500 metres of 18%, and that will come with 13Ks remaining, and that's where I think Tom Dumoulin might have an option, but it's a tenuous one, I believe, today in this company. So they regather themselves amongst the vines. As you can see, it is wine country. Somebody's saying no wonder part of the world has, in fact it was Jeanette, saying Chris Froome wasn't wrong when he said that Yorkshire reminded him of Tuscany. Well, I'm a Yorkshireman at Derbyshire borders, and I've got to say it feels very familiar. Here we go then. It's time for those who can put in a decent time trial, Brian, to engage that effort and try and sap the legs of the quick men.
Well, it's a case of you've got Kwiatkowski, Stybar, Greg Van Avermaet and Tim Wellens, probably the strongest 4 of this group. If you come into Siena, unfortunately, you're going to go for 5th place, so it does look as if Jules Jensen and Durbridge, for me, has to have a go. He cannot just sit there. He's going for a minor place if he comes into town with the riders in this group. So I think Durbridge, Tom Dumoulin, they're 2 riders that have to go on the attack.
And here we go, exactly that. Now, you know that Tom Dumoulin can time trial, and this is that sort of rolling section, at least on an asphalt surface, that doesn't have the same worry, skittery worry that we get with the strade bianche. Gonçalves, now a chaser, listed. It's been a brave ride by the 28-year-old Portuguese, and he'll have other days, but it's been a great, powerful performance by him, isn't it, Brian?
He's been the rider of the day, in my eyes, been in the breakaway, hanging on, and you know, inside the last 20 kilometres, and he's very close. He's had a terrific ride today.
Right, we're going to squeeze in a commercial break, and then we'll be back, hopefully, for this last section of strade bianche before the rolling terrain all the way into Siena itself. A couple of little hills to take as well. They're trying to soften them up out there, the boys who must go long, because the strong will have them in the end if they don't. Kwiatkowski has decided that now's the time. He clearly feels like he's got something left and he's pushed on. And we were suggesting that the cameraman rather likes him a lot. It seemed that, well, I'm not suggesting he was overly assisted, because it's not his fault if the camera bike just stays there, but now the camera's been ordered to go to the side, and you can see that he's got the sort of spatters from the dirty water that's been kicked up all over the helmet. Where's the world champion stripes, of course, from back in 2014 when he really set the world alight. It seems that the flame was turned down after that. Well, today is his chance to re-find those glory days, and the strong men are going to try and let him suffer, but there's a great danger here that Kwiatkowski can go long. He's a clever rider, and given an opportunity, and he's creating one for himself right now, don't be surprised if he manages to make this stick. 14 kilometres only remaining. Let's just talk you through what he's got to deal with. In a moment, he's going to go off a little bit of a shelf when we got through Bottega Nuova, and in fact we're coming into the little town right now. It will suddenly drop down. He goes into a little bowl, kicks up the other side, but it's quite steep on the exit from it. He's then got rolling terrain, including a climb up the Vico Alto. It's about 7% that climb, and it goes on for about 1.5 kilometres. Then it starts to gently descend all the way down, sort of rolling steps, if you like, of descent, until we get to the foot of Siena, where we climb up to Il Campo. Here's Pinot as part of the breakaway. Shown a lot of fortitude today, and that's a good thing, Brian, because a lot of these guys, including Pinot, are thinking much deeper into the season. I'm not suggesting they wouldn't like to win here, as Dumoulin just picks it up and starts to drive into it. Greg van Avermaet trying to stay with him, and Jules Jensen can't go with him, I'm afraid. A little bit suffering further back as well. Zdeněk Štýbar just trying to stay with it. Everybody here is at the end of their resources. Freshest amongst all of them seems to be Michael Kwiatkowski, and here comes that little downhill descent he's about to get into right now, and then it will be the last section of Strade Bianche he has to deal with. Can he do it? It's not been unheard of, Brian.
He's strong enough, he's already shown that. There's 2 or 3 riders equally strong behind, and that's what he's decided to do. By going in front, it means that the other riders are going to look at each other. I'm not going to take you across, I'm not going to make this effort. So it's getting a little bit more tactical now. Kwiatkowski has looked at the situation and decided that he's probably better off alone in front, rather than maybe getting caught out, because we did say that there are some kind of weaker riders in the group behind. They'll start attacking like they did Tom Dumoulin. Durbridge is yet to show something at the moment, but he doesn't want to get caught up in the kind of tactical situation behind, and he's decided to go on the attack and try and push out with 13 kilometres to go.
Well, you just saw the sign which declared that we were leaving Siena. We're going out on a little loop right now, and look at the talent we've got to play with at the very last. We're on this Strade Bianche. It has within it a climb, and we're about to get there, and it's 18%, Brian. It's no laughing matter.
No, this is the steepest of the sections today, and we're just about to hit it, and it looks as if Greg van Avermaet is trying to come across to Kwiatkowski. This is the chasing group at 53 seconds with Thies Benoot and also Gonçalves from the original breakaway.
Here we go. This is that section. Now 18% at its maximum on some of the turns, and turning the wheels, but albeit slowly. You can have a look at just how steep it is at the attitude that those at the side of the road are standing to it. I think Durbridge may well try and go on the attack again, just try and open up a little bit of a gap, and Jules Jensen as well. But for the time being, the man is doing everything on all terrain, it seems. He's now finished with the Strade Bianche. It's all over in that regard. Now, could he ride the smooth stuff all the way? Well, it's asphalt, and then we go on to various surfaces on the approach, because it's a mixture of sort of concrete, big limestone slabs, a little bit of smooth cobbles and brickwork as well. The usual sort of combination on a city that's ancient and has been renovated a number of times. But Siena is where we're going, and these are the chasers. Greg van Avermaet, Zdeněk Štýbar and Tim Wellens. Your choice for the day, Brian, still looks handy.
Well, this is the testing time now. If these 3 riders combine together to help each other, then and he had a sector named after him.
Yes, indeed. Well, no longer, still training, of course, has to train down after a professional career. Dangerous just to stop. But these guys, that's Durbridge with Jules Janssen, and we have confirmation of it for you there, and Tom Dumoulin as well. I'm afraid it's probably too much for them, because it's going to get they'd have to be part of the group right now, and maybe ahead of them it would be they that needed the 20-second lead, but it's this man, Michael Kwiatkowski. It's a brave move, Brian.
It is an intelligent move as well. We've seen him do this a couple of years ago when he won the World Championships, and you know, he's doing it again. He's deciding he doesn't want to get held up behind with a little bit of negative riding. He wants to do it from the front on his own. No place to hide, but there's a drag coming up soon, and that might be the test in time. If he managed to go over this drag with the same advantage he has now, then he could be at the top of the podium for the second time in the history.
Could be. Vico Alto is where we're going. Emma Nico says, why is Strade Bianche not a monument? It's exciting and beautiful, one of the best of the year, surely. Agree with you, Emma, but it's not a monument because it hasn't got the history. It's only in its 11th incarnation, but in many riders' minds of the new races, it most certainly is the most prominent, and it kind of feels that it's been around for a long time, doesn't it, Brian?
Yeah, it feels as if it's been around since a great race. Obviously it was used in the Giro d'Italia some years ago as well, so it is used in some of the kind of stage races, but it's just, yeah, it's purely down to history.
Well, they'll be writing another page of its young history fairly shortly, but Tim Wellens pushing on with Stybar and Greg van Avermaet. Kwiatkowski up the road. It's about these four, surely. I don't think that other group behind are going to have a chance, because they're completely committed. It may well look like they're going slowly here, but we're heading up to Vico Alto. It's not listed as a climb, but it's about 7-8%, and it goes on for quite some time. And to get to the top, if Kwiatkowski can get over it, he's got a chance, but the chase down will be so spirited. I don't think these guys are going to have a chance, but Tom Dumoulin, we said he might be worried the way he was haranguing everybody, and so it seemed, and sadly for us, because we're very fond of him, Edvald Bosenhagen not part of proceedings now.
No, not at all, and this is getting to the top of this drag now, and you can just see the group 24 seconds behind. If Kwiatkowski can keep this going, the closer he gets to the finish, these riders behind are starting to think a little bit more negative. Looks as if Tim Wellens is starting to suffer a little bit now, and it's left up to Greg van Avermaet and Stybar, and they've done a lot of riding today, both a lot of efforts, and
to inject a little bit more pace there.
I don't think they have it. I think they're pretty much spent behind.
So. Survival mode as we speak, and in fact look at the gap it's opening up. Kwiatkowski doing a fantastic job. It's 42 seconds back to these guys. Wow, Michael Kwiatkowski, world champion in 2014, and he's kind of refound his mojo here, it seems. The top of the year, he's looking very strong, and what a way to, I guess, badge yourself up for the remainder of the season. He needs to get over this, and then he can ride into that to the foot of the climb. He's 7 or so kilometres out. Now he's going to take a 2-kilometre downhill run. He'll be first to be able to put some power back in his legs. And he's got a very gentle rise and fall that extends over about 4 kilometres, which will bring him to a downhill run to the finale. This is that downhill I was telling you about. This goes on for about 2k. See, the road's wet here. You also saw the camera flashes from the stills cameramen looking very, very bright. It's because the retina of our TV camera is wide open, and it's very wet. We've had a rainstorm come through at the finish. Let's hope he stays upright. This is brave stuff. He realises he's got a chance here, and he wants to make it count. He is taking some risks on the approach. Let's have a look. Makes it wide, goes left to take the right-hander, sort of opens up the corner, and these guys, possibly alarm bells going off, they know that they've got problems here. It's 30 seconds with 6.5 kilometres to go. I believe that Kwiatkowski could make this stick, and he will do if these guys don't organise themselves. Look how gingerly Tim Wellens takes into that corner, and likewise this little hairpin as it starts to flatten out. They're starting to spread out as well. Stybar, Wellens, Van Avermaet are the chasers, with Kwiatkowski up the road. Just about 6 kilometres remaining, and here he is. What a fantastic drive this is.
It is, and he seems to be not losing any time, actually gaining time. He looks strong enough, and the riders behind, we can see him up that drag, they're starting to suffer a little bit, and sometimes it gives you morale when you're in front. You know, Kwiatkowski's suffering himself. He's got 30 seconds, but when you're not bringing the time gap down. Stebar, Greg Van Avermaet and Tim Wellens, your
sort of mixture of city cobbles and the rest, so very well cared for. You're not going to get potholes. There are a few skittery drain covers to watch out for on the approach. 5.8 kilometres, it'll take a while for it to spin out. But Brian, let's just talk about the approach. Some really, really nasty 90-degree turns in town for them to deal with after we've taken the Flamme Rouge. Turns, 90-degree turns, there is one at about 650, one about 550, one about 450, and then a last one before we actually turn into Il Campo itself.
Well, the main point is that right at the top of the climb, the steep climb into Siena, turn right. If you're at the front there, I don't think anybody would pass you.
Well, if Michael Kwiatkowski can hold on to this, it will be a magnificent performance, and it'll bring some cheer to Sky, who've been under a lot of pressure of late. I'm sure you all know. Let's just hope for Kwiatkowski's sake that these guys don't have it. I'd frankly like them to get back and make it a four-man shootout, as Wellens just pulls over and said, look, I'm not going to be anyone's fool here. Greg Van Avermaet takes the nose and Stebar just settles in behind him. It's almost like a punch-up in slow motion at the moment as they take on this little climb. We describe them as little climbs, Brian, but they really hurt, especially at a moment such as this. Here's a little crest. This is that run down now to the final test for him.
Yeah, 25 seconds, so they've kind of chipped off 5 or 6 seconds now. But 5 kilometres to go, Kwiatkowski, he has to feel good about this. Okay, it's a hard run in, and that's a very difficult final climb, but I think Stebar, and this is what I don't understand, UCI, you're looking at this, that camera bike in front is helping Kwiatkowski. I don't know why they do it with the bottle situation of 20 kilometres to go, no more feeding from the cars for safety reasons. Why don't they do it with the motorbike photographers? The last 20 kilometres, only static pictures, and let them race out it fairly.
Yep, indeed. Well, we've mentioned the camera bike. It's been used on a number of occasions, and Kwiatkowski, whenever you get a heads-up shot for him, you know, there's a camera there. You're not going to be happy about that. I think there will be some words. Finally, the camera goes behind him, and so he's got this descent to take. It brings him to the main feature of the finale, which is a series of turns. We go at Via de Collanella, and we take a couple of hairpins on that, getting to the Pescaia. There's a big hairpin that brings you to the citadel itself, a protected city of old, when Italy was divided up into a series of cantons before, of course, Garibaldi himself unified it as a nation. Go and look it up. 4.1 kilometres to go now, 4 from home, and it looks like he's going to make this, Brian. These guys, everyone's at the end of their limits, but it seems that with more resources, and indeed with the more resourceful man was Michael Kwiatkowski. He could get caught on the climb though. We've seen that heartbreak before, but he's going for it. Well, he's been riding well all day. He's always been in the front, pushing hard, and it does look as if Stebar, Greg Van Avermaet and Tim Wellens are, like you say, are on their limit as well. And they've started to see the kilometres tick down, 4 to go. They're not eating into this advantage. It's back out again, close to 30 seconds. So Kwiatkowski will be starting to gain in confidence now. He will be gaining in confidence, and so are we, that he can make this. It was 26 seconds. He's found another 2 out there, and he's believing as well. Get out of my way, I'm coming through on the inside. Well, good work there by Kwiatkowski to offer up the warning, but shame that he had to waste the energy to tell the camera bike where to be. So down to the dip, through the less fashionable part, I think it's fair to say, of Siena, although there are some very nice boutique hotels, I can tell you, on the hillside here. More on that another day. Right now, he gets into the aero position. He's holding 27 seconds. He can't go any faster than this, and doesn't want to. Double checks on the motorcycle making them a little bit nervous on the approach. So once he hits the Flamme Rouge, he's then got a straight line, and for a modest margin, about 150 metres before he takes 1, 2, 3, 4, a sequence of 4 different 90-degree turns. He can take this line safely. We saw the women's race earlier on today, and it got very, very sketchy on wetter roads. It's slightly drier for the men, and Kwiatkowski's got the luxury of being able to pick his lines through. Camera's searching for the chasers, and here they are. It's still a handsome margin. It's Stebar that picks it up on the chase. There's Wellens, and it's Greg van Avermaet in 4th place. Well, last time he won the En Loop, he finished 6th here, and I think it may well be a podium place at best for him. Let's see, nearly 30 seconds now with 2.2 to go. This is Kwiatkowski's to lose.
Yeah, they'll be thinking in this group about third, because it looks as if with the 27 seconds inside the last 2 kilometres that Kwiatkowski has got this one in the bag for Team Sky.
Certainly looks that way. He's gone puppy paws eye up front. He's in time trialling mode in his mind, but there'll be all kinds of fireworks going on. The thoughts are banging around inside his skull here, you can be sure. He trusts the machine, of course, a trusty steed for him. So that's one less thing to worry about here. But look at the terrain. Now this is the bounce as he comes in and starts to climb up to the Citadel. This is where the walls get taller to keep away the hordes. But he's kept everyone at bay today, save for this cameraman who seems to be making a nuisance of himself on occasion. In fact, at one point he actually pointed at him and issued an oath. I wasn't going to lip read for you, but even if I had understood what the poll was saying, I believe it was in English, so that helps. 1,300 metres then, he's on the straight line of the Via Estrella Frontabranda, and this will bring him to the city gates, within which he will then push on for glory. These guys, I think, are going to cat and mouse for runners-up, we'll see. 1,200 metres now for Kwiatkowski, it looks like the winner.
Yeah, definitely, and a strong ride all day today. Been in the front at the right times. Decided it was better off in front and alone. You know, he's taking it with both hands, and it does look as if getting very close to the last kilometre. We've got a very steep climb up through Siena, but with the 1 kilometre now, he looks as if he's going to be throwing his 2 hands up at the finish.
Yeah, team car, almost making a nuisance of himself. Strade bianche, 1 kilometre to go. There's the Flamme Rouge, the final kilometre. It does start to slow down dramatically when we get into town, but listen to the roar from the locals here. There's the Citadel with the high walls. Try scaling those with hot oil. Absolutely everyone behind. And right now he just needs to turn it on all the way. Security and stills camera almost taking out a fan there who was busy doing his own little film show. 4 hours and 40 minutes in the saddle as we pan down to see a brave trio of pre-race favourites. Stybar, Van Avermaet, Tim Wellens, but it's going to be about this man. Here's the flat flagging that we're dealing with. Nice and dry, it's all dried up here. And you see the little jinks and turns. He's got a little left-hander which brings him to a 90-degree right. That's up Cantina. This is where, if it is a sprint finish, this is where it gets very, very nasty. Almost touching elbows as you try and find the best part of the road. It's kind of funneled for the rain, so that the rain gullies down the centre of the road, and that's where it stays wet, and that's where you don't want to be, and that's where he's staying at the moment. You can see a stripe of wet, dead centre of the road, centre of our thoughts and proceedings. Michael Kwiatkowski is going on for glory, and these guys are looking at each other. They're going to duke it out for 2nd place.
Yeah, they're looking at it now. This is the little chicane onto the... We'll know he's up against it, but just at the top of the climb here, as he goes through this cacophony of noise, up the last part of this climb, he'll turn right and he'll jinx through the stones and be taking a very good win for himself and for Team Sky.
They're picking it up here. Wellens just on the back of the trio. That's the blue jersey of Stybar, with Greg van Avermaet out front, but ahead of them all is this man, Michael Kwiatkowski, former world champion, of course. Right now he's going to feel absolutely cock-a-hoop. The season has started so well for him. He takes the right-hander, he'll take a left in a few moments' time up to Via Bianche, and then it will be the final right-hander into town. Here's that left-hand turn, and he's not going to make any errors here. How slowly is he taking this? Keeping the bike absolutely vertical. He knows, he's starting to believe. He keeps looking back, wondering if there's anyone chasing him down, never quite sure. Sometimes you get radio breakup in the Citadel here. It's hard to hear. Well, a crackle on the radio. Soon we'll just say chapeau. And this man's going to take this right-hander. And how nice must this feel? Suddenly the palio will open up here. And this man's got thousands of friends as well. Oh, here we go. Kwiatkowski takes the Strade Bianche, the 11th incarnation. Oh, what a way to win it as well. Couldn't have been braver, to be fair. Well, they push on, and Greg van Avermaet is not going to make it stick this time by. He's going to have the beating of Tim Wellens, but it's only for 2nd place. Van Avermaet runner-up, Tim Bellens comes along, and Stybar, former winner here, fourth this time, and the clock will tick on. It's going to take an awful long time for everyone to get home.
He just had that little bit more edge, and Sky get a well-deserved win there. So we've seen Sky and Kwiatkowski, Polish rider, winning today, and earlier on we saw Longo Borghini, an Italian, win here in the women's race. So it's been a good day here, and these riders all know they've been in a tough bike race today.
Certainly have. Tom Dumoulin would have had to go very, very long. Likewise, Durbridge. Jules Jensen is going to be one of those close at hand as well, but it's going to be minor numbers for them, unfortunately. But a great race, and where it's Siena, what a fantastic backdrop it is. And the power. Some got pieces taken out of them, I'm afraid. We're hoping that they're okay. Jürgen Rollins took a time, unfortunately, likewise, and in fact, from Peter Sagan, and indeed Jempe Drucker, who's delighted. I'm hoping we're going to get a word with him shortly. Well into your top three. Stybar, Tom Dumoulin rounding out the top five. Others gated. Durbridge, Jules Jensen, Knut Pinot, who was so brave in the breakaway.